wealth is so much more than that, because, you know, a lot of people would say Warren Buffett is wealthy, but you and I wouldn't trade places with him. We're literally valuing our life more than $100 billion. So wealth is not just money, even though a lot of times we'll say that, but then we'll do the exact opposite. We have to quantify what that is. For us, it's intentional living. So what does the intentional life look like? And then let's make sure that our money, relationships, business, and all of that aligns with that.
Let me ask you this. You know, I'm a dentist and I have a huge following of dentists, a lot of dental professionals. We're really good about our craft, right? We went through all these years of schooling. We look at all these details, but you know what's really unique about dentists and other health professionals? Although we're really smart, we're really dumb when it comes to money. And it's because, you know, we have this, we're just smart enough to be dangerous, right? Like, hey, let me watch some YouTube videos. Let me talk to the guy that I golf with, right? Like, we would never do that. We would never go to our next door neighbor and say, hey, how do I like do a crown on this tooth? We would never do it. We're like, dude, you go for training, you do all that stuff. But when it comes to things that are like really big that can affect our wealth, we're asking like people at church, we're asking like random people. So Caleb, like, you work with so many different professionals. Why is that? Why are people just, when it comes to money, they just kind of like, they kind of wing it? Why is that?
Well, I think a lot of people in the financial space wing it as well. So I probably have a different perspective, but there's really like three areas that people focus on. Area number one is a lot of entrepreneurs are solely focused on making more money. And it's like, it's an equivalent of you like pouring water into a bucket with a bunch of holes in it. So it's like, you're making money, which is amazing. But at the end of the day, you're not finding any places to keep it. The second area is where we do a lot of focus on is how to keep more of your money. But a lot of financial advisors don't get paid for that, because if I help you with your credit score and help you pay less in taxes, by the way, 9 out of 10 dentists are overpaying on taxes.
That's what I heard.
It's insane. And so like there's massive amounts of overpayment on taxes, and then like debt. A lot of people have like emotional, you know, views of debt, but at the end of the day, our dollar bill, like if you take out your dollar bill, what does it say on the dollar bill? Federal Reserve note. Cash is a form of debt. And so we have to not be emotional about it, because when you pay cash, you're using debt, whether when you finance, you're using debt. So it's not that debt is evil. It's debt is a tool. And just like anything, some tools should be used and some tools shouldn't be used. And so it's helping people really get clear on that. And so our whole belief is like, hey, if we can help you be more efficient and keep money, like remove the friction to get to where you want to go. That's one of the areas that we do a lot of focus on, by helping people save on taxes, optimizing their credit, their debt, and then helping them with their investments. And then the third group of people are like typical financial advisors, and they just get paid for, you know, investing your money. And so they're just looking at growing your money, but you can't spend a rate of return. And at the end of the day, just growing your portfolio may or may not align with what you want to accomplish. So I will say a lot of people in our space wing it, because they're not helping people be more efficient. They're helping people grow their money in widgets that may or may not help align with where they want to go. And so,
I mean, I'm so glad that you brought that up, because again, like a lot of times if you go into, depending on which financial planner you're working with, right? They have like a menu. I call it like a menu. It literally is like a menu. It's like you go to a restaurant and there's like a menu. You want this on the appetizer, you want this, this, and this. It's almost like a menu of services. Like, hey, I got this appetizer, I got this here and this here. And I might not want an appetizer. Maybe I just want to go to the main course, but it's like they have these products and they almost want to just force it on you, no matter what situation or what circumstances you're in. And it's so frustrating. And why do they do that? Because I'm assuming there's a financial incentive for them to sell these products. And if I can't sell these products to Dr. Vo, then I can't make any money.
How many people are making short-term decisions in life?
Yeah.
Almost everybody.
Yeah.
And so, yeah. And by the way, they have good meaning. Like they have good reasons why they do certain things, and not all things are bad. Like, you know, Roth conversion, not bad. The market is not bad. You know, life insurance is not bad. The problem is a lot of times you're making you're trying to make a decision without seeing the whole picture. And I think we all need to be obsessed with this concept of ROR, not rate of return, but return on result. Get
Return
ultra
on
crystal
results.
clear on results and make that the metric that you measure everything off of. And your time, your money, your relationships, your talent should all be based around that. Because at the end of the day, wealth is not a money in the bank account. Wealth is so much more than that, because, you know, a lot of people would say Warren Buffett is wealthy, but you and I wouldn't trade places with him. We're literally valuing our life more than $100 billion. So wealth is not just money, even though a lot of times we'll say that, but then we'll do the exact opposite. We have to quantify what that is. For us, it's intentional living. So what does the intentional life look like? And then let's make sure that our money, relationships, business, and all of that aligns with that. And then cash flow is by far the most important financial metric. So it's one of those, like, we can get practical, but at the end of the day, getting practical without understanding the true underlying why, waste of everyone's time.
And, you know, I mean, just listening to that, I mean, I would say that, you know, whether you're trying to grow your wealth or you have different financial goals, it's a real personal question.
Yeah.
It's a really personal situation. I mean, what might make sense for me might not make sense for this other doctor, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So again, just coming with that type of mentality. I think if you have that type of mentality, then you'll understand, like, okay, this situation is not, maybe this is not who I want to work with, or maybe this is not where I want to put my money. So with that being said, how do people, professionals like myself, other dentists, again, my community is mainly dental professionals and a lot of health professionals, like, what are like the first steps? Because you only know what you know,
Yeah.
right? You only know what you know.
You know, you're going to love this. And I promise we didn't just make this for your community, but we have what's called the financial X-ray. And
Financial X-ray, I love that.
the reason X-rays are so important is they show you exactly what's going on, and there's no sales that's needed. Just show people what is happening with their teeth, what's happening with their back, what's happening with just fill in the blank. And so for us, our whole philosophy is inefficiency is friction that's getting in the way for you to accomplish where you want to go. Where do you live?
I live in Dallas, Fort Worth.
Okay, so I live in Denver. I'm clear on where I want to go. I want to meet you. I could walk to you, take like 5 to 10 days. I could drive to you, which would be a miserable one day, or I could fly to you and see you this afternoon. So again, clear on where we want to go, but there's different, like, a lot of people are equivalent to walking to their financial destination when they could get on an airplane, but they just don't know what they don't know. So our whole purpose of the financial X-ray is to get crystal clear about, number one, what you want. Number two, list out all the inefficiencies. I'm talking from debt to overpaying on taxes, to maybe a lack of optimizing credit, to potentially bad credit playing a role, to putting money in investments that are not aligned with where you want to go, to there's so many other, like, inefficiencies and friction points that can get in the way. But our whole goal is to just show you what's going on. We show you all your key financial metrics, and then we also have a financial model that, from a cash flow perspective, can give you a snapshot, your X-ray on, from a cash flow perspective, where you are and where you really should be. And so then, just in full transparency, that is the thing that we lead with. And then some people say, I want to hire you guys for taxes. I want to hire you guys for the special life insurance strategies that I wrote a book on. I want to hire you guys for our SEP IRA plans or whatnot. I want to hire you for certain things, but I don't necessarily want to lead with the product. I want to lead with, like, the process that shows you where you're at.
I mean, it makes perfect sense because, you know, Caleb, if you came into my office, right, it would just be insane if you just came into my office and said, hey, Caleb, so I'm going to do some dental implants on you, and then I'm also going to put some braces on you as well. And you'll be thinking, Dr. Vogt, you didn't even look at my mouth.
Yeah,
you didn't
exactly.
look at my mouth, you know? And so again, like, when you put it that way, it's just mind-boggling that, hey, you don't know anything about me. You don't know anything about me. And here's all these things you want. It's the equivalent of you going into my office and all of a sudden I said, you need all these things, but we haven't even talked. I haven't even looked in your mouth.
But how many times have we experienced the financial service space not do the due diligence on the front end, or they just do the fact finder ultimately to pitch you something? At the end of the day, it's a turnoff. And that's why Better Wealth, we're a better way to keep and grow your wealth. And that's one of the things that we're just really, really clear on. And we love working with the entrepreneur because there's a lot of areas that entrepreneurs are being inefficient in. And I think entrepreneurship can have the greatest impact in our country.
Absolutely.
So we could talk a lot about that, but man, I get so fired up about this.
Yeah, I love it. I love it. So obviously doing this X-ray, right? Again, it makes total sense for my community, for anybody else. But if again, in the healthcare community, we like to research, right? Like, we're the type of people who are like, okay, let me look through this book. Let me watch these videos. Let me look at every single thing. I want to get prepared. It's like preparing for a test. So for the audience members who like to do their research, what are some of the resources if they want to kind of like look at what you're doing, look at what your company does before they have that call? Where are those resources at?
I have a lot of free resources that I would love to give your audience that I normally only give when I give keynotes. But
Oh, wow.
it's checklists from like one piece of paper on all the ways that you can save on taxes.
Wow.
A lot of people are not aware of the 20 plus tax credits available for you on a personal side and the over 35 tax credits available to business owners. Then we'll show you exactly how to analyze debt. We'll show you some quick wins around tax. We'll show you some quick wins around credit. And just some other, like, I know budgeting gets a bad rap, but there's some really simple ways to get really clear on, am I spending money on what I value? So those are all resources that we can get to your community, and we'll figure out the best way to do that. And then if you go to betterwealth.com/X-ray, you'll see all the things that our X-ray includes, which literally includes a tax analysis with
Wow.
our tax team. If you want to get your investments and risk analysis for all your investments, we have a fiduciary guided assessment there, and all that's included with our X-ray. And I will give your community a code using. We'll make sure that your community is taken care of if they want to go through the X-ray.
I love it, Caleb. Thank you so much. Awesome.
At currently financial advisors, we have an endorsement for how we talk about life insurance. So that's originally, I don't know if you've heard any of life insurance strategies like infinite banking.
Well, so and I'm a dentist, so I get a lot of that stuff.
Okay.
So, obviously whole life, term life, all
Yeah.
this investing in and whatnot. So I've heard some version of that before. I'm not sure if that's how you guys approach it.
Yeah, so this is a whole hour conversation, but take this next statement with a grain of salt.
Okay.
If you're going to do a life insurance strategy, we're one of like 3 companies in the country that you want to work with. When you ask like how I've been able to coach other financial advisors in the space, it's because when I first got in this space, I was so turned off to life insurance because I thought it was a ripoff. And for most people it is.
Yeah.
But if done well, if you understand how banks and corporations and the ultra wealthy look at it, they're not looking at it as an investment. They're looking at it as like an alternative savings vehicle where they're giving their dollar more than one utility. And when you set it up like that, you have massive flexibility, massive cash. The commission is like 1/10 of what it would be in the normal way, but it's a savings bucket that people can save their money and all that. So that is a business that we have on the back end, along with like investments, retirement planning, taxes, all of that. And so the reason why I share that is we give an endorsement to people, like we teach them how to do that, how to work with companies, how to structure that. And because I've written the book, The And Asset, and pretty well known in the space, they kind of get that stamp of approval and they can leverage my name.
So the event that Dennis was just at, that was your event, right?
Yes. That was an event that we hosted for financial. So this is how cool this was. We shared all the secrets. I brought in, so there's 5 competitors in the financial space. One of them I have actually ownership in, of like software to help financial advisors model certain things. All 5 companies were represented and got to speak. 3 CEOs were present, which is unheard of. Never in the history of the financial industry, because they all hate each other.
Yeah.
They don't all hate each other, but they're all like,
but they're competitive.
They're putting on events for themselves, and their deal is, we're the best, everyone else sucks. So not only had that, we had multiple insurance companies. We had multiple of the top producers share what's working for them.
Wow.
I'm telling you, it was one of the most life-giving experiences of my life, because we realized that if we're truly helping the consumer, we can't do enough. Like, there's so much abundance for everybody that if we could all make more money and serve people at a better level if we thought abundantly. It's just such an amazing experience.
Wow. Okay. Wow, I'm excited. Yeah, let me go through this. I want to
Okay.
go through the X-ray, do all these things, and that way I can just authentically just
Yeah.
say, hey, I worked with Caleb and his team.
Right.
This is what I got, and I feel confident of
Right.
having you guys come over there and,
Right.
and check that
So
out.
I want you to
Yeah.
know if there's things that we can improve upon or customize for your community, already done. So
Okay,
we can
I love it.
create the truly valuable experience for your community, and I think both do extremely well in the process.
Awesome, man. Awesome. Hey, Caleb, thank you so much for the time here, man.
Is there anything else that like you would like to communicate? I feel like I've been doing a lot of talking, and that just is a
No.
testimony to your ability to ask questions. But is there anything else that is on your heart, or any other things that you want to mention?
Let me ask you this, Kate. Like, Kate, are you married and have kids or
Yeah.
anything like that?
I'm married. I've been married for about a year,
Oh,
over a
okay. Well,
year. June 5th.
congratulations with that.
Thank you.
My follow-up question to you would be, well, not my follow-up, but my advice to you would be, if you don't have kids yet, just enjoy being married for a little bit before you have
That's
kids.
what everyone says. It's either communication, which now I understand what people are meaning. Because when I ask them, like, what is your marriage advice? Over communicate. I'm like, oh, that
Yeah.
can't be that hard.
The reason why I asked that is because what I learned about my wife is to become a really good listener, right? I'm always thinking like 100 miles per hour. I'm always moving 100 miles per hour. My wife's very cautious. She really thinks about everything, and so she intentionally slows me down, right? So one thing I learned from her is that whenever I meet someone, I'm always listening. I'm always going to listen more if I talk. So you may felt like that you did all the talking, but that was intentional on my part because I wanted to absorb everything that you were giving me. And again, without me even asking, you already answered almost all my questions. So
Yeah.
again, I just wanted to make this connection. I wanted to see where we can help each other out. And I see so many avenues, but really it's, we're going to do good by helping my community out, right? A community that actually needs this help,
Yeah.
right? They may not see it. They might say, hey, I'm making X amount, but you just said it yourself, right? And I love that analogy, putting water into a bucket that has a lot of holes.
Yeah.
You can get a bigger bucket, but if the holes are still there, it's not going to stay. And at the end of the day, does that help them? Does that help their family, right? If they're not present for their family, what happens? It actually affects us. So that's actually how I see it. I see all these things helping other people become safer when it comes to finances. It actually helps us because that makes sure their kids are taken care of. And if their kids are taken care of, then they're going to be more responsible citizens, right?
I love
So,
it.
anyways, yeah, it's a full circle there.
I'll leave you this one last word picture. If someone's at a 10% savings rate and we can save them $30,000, that's an equivalent of them making an additional $300,000.
Wow.
So again,
That way.
they should do both. They should make more money and keep it. But again, it's like a lot of people when they think, oh, I saved $30,000 because of taxes. Yeah, it's like I could do that. They don't understand that keeping is so much more valuable than making, because if we can be efficient with the money that's already flowing, it's so much greater than going off of new money. And so that's just a word, like that's one thing that we show people is like we're all about making more. So do both, but keeping a dollar is so valuable. And
Yeah.
I just want to honor you and what you're doing and how you're articulating and the mindset you have.
I'm curious before we jump off here, how would that work if someone ends up like, what if someone said, okay, I just want to hire you guys. I'm sure the coaching is great, but I just want to skip that. I just want to hire you guys to do my books and be my CPA, et cetera, et cetera.
There's a world where we just go right into bookkeeping and tax.
I can tell you right now that there's going to be quite a number of people who might want to go there, but naturally, as they work with someone, they're going to
100%.
come back.
Our big deal, by the way, is, and one of the reasons why X-ray is so strategic for us is we figure out what the number one pain point is, and then we go there because we know lifetime value is so key. So if we can serve people well in a vertical, it will bleed across the board. But it's horrible trying to have someone go to something that's really not, like, they need bookkeeping help. So then why are we trying to talk about life insurance when we should help them with their money and then have a solution on the back end?
Awesome. Caleb, thank you so much, man. I appreciate the time. We'll talk to you soon. All right.
Take care. Bye.
Bye-bye.